Hello, good morning. Thank you all for joining us. Today we're grateful to have Lucy in our Gala Conversation. Lucy recently published her book, Rebirth of a Lotus, Escaping Domestic Abuse. It's about her journey as a DV survivor. Today, the conversation will be casual, so while watching the video, we invite you to grab your tea, your coffee, your chai, sit back, and we hope you enjoy the conversation. So hello, Lucy. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
I am happy that you asked.
And although that I haven't met you in person, I feel that I know you so much already from reading your book, which you wrote is so beautifully. The words, like, you go into such detail and take me to that picture. I really enjoy reading your book. So I feel I know you so much already.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can you please share with us a little more about yourself?
Of course. I am a super proud mom of two boys. My oldest, Orion, is a graphic designer and he's a part-time student. My youngest, Emilio, referred to in the book as Miguel, he attends his last year of college, majoring in animation, and is also working as an animator part-time. Myself, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself today. I have been many things in the past, but today I am an HR manager for a company, and I support the Northern California region. I love cooking. I love drawing, writing, and all kinds of storytelling. All you have to do is ask my friends, just constantly making them listen to one of my stories at one time or another. I absolutely love my life. I am so proud of my boys. I love the mornings, especially quiet time. I love reading. I am an avid recorded book reader or listener. So this is my life today.
I see so much love in your life right now. The way that you describe, you love cooking, you love reading. Oh, that's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's talk about the book. Can you please take us back to the beginning? Why inspire you to write this memoir?
Well, as I stayed at the safe house, I could feel my perspective start to shift, right? So the feelings that I was experiencing, the duality of those feelings. One moment, I was longing for my family to reunite, be in my home. And then the next minute, I was building hope for our future without my husband. And when I say our, at that time, my little guy who was 2 years old, right? But it was as if I was a spectator and not a participant. I could see it from the outside, and this contrast and this constant shift back and forth. And when I was seeing it from the outside, it was amazing to me. It was almost surreal, what was happening. And I realized at the time that it needed to be recorded because this was the pivotal time in my life, and it depended on our future, on all of our futures. So I think at first, when I decided to start documenting what was happening, it was more for my boys so that they can read what happened, you know, once, especially my younger one got older. That as I wrote through the years, I realized that maybe my memoir would be useful to others. So the more I got toward the end, the more I started leaning toward possibly one day publishing the book. It took 19 years because, of course, I've always worked full time and raised my children. So I could only do this on my leisure hours. But it got done finally. And this was a great moment for me to be able to actually check that off the checklist.
Yeah, this is quite an achievement after 19 years and still remember all the details through the journals that you write when you were at the safe house. I remember you said you go into your closet, your sanctuary to write. And all these pieces all come together and become this inspiring book. So thank you so much for taking the time to write it. Yeah. Well, can you share with the viewer a little bit about your book? What is it about?
Well, my book captures the journey from living with violence as your everyday, whether there is violence or whether there is fear that there will be violence, to actually going to living violence free. So it's that journey. And the book conveys the feelings of remorse from the mourning that I felt at the time of what I was leaving behind, right? But it also tells the story of hope, because we all know that growth can be painful, but in growth, there is also liberation. The book heavily involves this organization of SAVE, which was pivotal in the part it played in my son and my life and my eventual recovery. The book documents the resources and the education that SAVE provided, and that launched us into this peaceful, joyful, free from violence or fear, this life that I have and have had all these years.
Thank you for sharing that. It's every survivor's story is all unique. What you have been through as SAVE was, I'm glad that SAVE was there to be able to help you, because from what I know, not every county has resources like this. As my experiencing was in Oakland, and I went to that organization. It was so little that they couldn't do for me. A lot of things I Googled it to be able to find the CalFresh, the CalWorks, all those assistants, the EBD card. That organization didn't provide it to me, and I thank God there's internet now. So what, like you said, it's a pivotal point in your life, a transformation of what was and become what's new, and this new life you have with you and Miguel. So I'm really glad that you wrote it into a book, and thank you for writing SAVE into it, because for the viewers that reading your book, if they know somebody, they can get help, right? So thank you so much. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So can you please share with the viewer a glimpse of your journey? Every survivor's journey is unique. Some takes months to become independent, and some takes years. So what were the decisions that you made, and it was the pivot point in your life, that this is it, it's no more, there's no more going back? It takes 7 times for a victim to leave an abusive situation, it takes so many tries. And I've read your story. I know you have tried so many times, but then you finally made that decision. Can you please share a little bit about that?
I'd be happy to. I think, and as you said, everyone is different, right? The same things that work for me may not work for someone else. But what we need to do is want it enough, right? Anything is possible. We just have to focus. The first best decision that I made was getting involved with SAVE. But if SAVE was my vessel, then education was my anchor. Having married my first husband at 16, I hadn't even finished high school at the time. My brother Al believed, even when I did not, that I could go back to school and be successful. After leaving my violent environment, I began to believe in myself again, and I re-enrolled into school. The things that occur in a classroom, when the thoughts are colliding with each other, it is nothing short of magic. I not only believed in myself, but I believed in the power of the things that I could do with my life. To give you a short glimpse, I am currently, this was also on my bucket list for many years. I currently, not too long ago, auditioned for community theater, and I got a part, and I'm actually rehearsing these days for an October performance. These are things that what we need to do is want, and we can achieve. I remember a book, Richard Bach, many years ago. Richard Bach is the author of Jonathan Livingston Seagull and an incredible book called Illusions. And he says, argue for your limitations, and they are yours. We don't have limits. We impose those limits on ourselves. But in order to free ourselves from those limits, we need to believe in ourselves. And I strongly feel that SAVE started this snowball effect in me that has continuously taken me down the path of creating a wonderful life, and in turn, being happy. So, pivotal decision in my life was, of course, to get involved with SAVE, because for me, that was the way to living a healthy lifestyle and being happy.
I absolutely agree when you said, I believe there's no limit. There's many survivors that stay at the safe house during that time that you were staying in the safe house, and you all attended the same domestic violence program. But as you mentioned in the book, not every survivors will do their homework, their assignments. But you took it seriously. You knew that you believed that it would help in your recovery and become independent. So you wrote every assignment, you carry all the rocks.
Yes.
So it's also you that did the work, and look at who you are and where you are now. Yeah, just love and joy. Oh, it brings me tears when you were talking about. Yeah. Well, my next question is, what do you hope the readers remembers from your book?
I would say two things. The first is that there is no cookie cutter domestic violence scenario or stereotype or anything like that. We sometimes judge and perceive people in violent environments as weak or maybe as even gluttons for punishment. I say we because I too used to have this notion that women who were abused were either not very smart because all they had to do was leave, or that perhaps they thrived in the drama. I couldn't have been more wrong. I hope that the reader walks away with a different perspective of the intricacies of this multi-layered problem. And the fact that there is not just one way to see it. The second thing that I hope that the reader gets out of it is that hope must never die. You know, although sometimes things appear really bleak, if we only wait until the morning, we're going to feel better and we're going to be able to find a way out. We always have resources. If there isn't a save, there are family members, there are friends that offer support. You know, if you're involved in a church, go to the, you know, the people, your resources, and get the help that you need. We deserve better. We deserve to be loved, but most of all, we deserve to be respected.
Thank you so much for sharing those 2 points with us. Yes, I go back to your first point. Domestic violence, it's such a complex issue, and there's no, like you said, there's no one cookie cutter way of uplifting somebody and become independent of free of violence. It's everybody's situation is different. So yeah, I also hope that the reader, after reading your book, they open that lens of seeing domestic violence in a different way and be brave talking about this issue because it happens all around us. I know that I was feeling ashamed of my violent situation. I felt that I couldn't deliver the love that he wanted from me. He wants so much and I can only give limited of myself. So at that time I feel ashamed of leaving him. And I know that there's other people feel that way too, but we shouldn't feel that way. You know, like Lucy said, we should be respected. We should be loved. Yeah. After reading your book, I feel so inspired, and also knowing that I'm on the right path. Like Lucy did it. Like, yeah.
Well, mine is only one of many situations, and you know, when once deciding to publish, my justification was if I could help just one person, it's worth it. So I hope I have reached that one person.
I'm sure. I'm sure you have. Well, for the people that's watching this video, if they know someone is experiencing abuse, what would you say to them?
I would say that there is something to be done. You cannot stay. Things will not get better. I believe that research has shown that it's a very small percentage of situations that improve, but for the most part, they get worse. And the saddest part about it is that the children from these unions will go on to do it again when they get older, because that's what they saw as they grow up. This was something that I didn't want for my son to have. There are resources. We have, as you said, the internet. You know, we are in the age of information. There are so many things available to us. There is hope. We deserve so much better. Everybody does. So keep the faith strong and get some help.
Yes, absolutely. It's having that supportive person that believe in that victim, that she's going through a situation that it's not healthy, and help her realize and get some help, and really protecting the children. What made me left my situation was I don't want my daughter growing up in a violent household that almost every week she would cry and scream because we're arguing, and she was just so frightened. She was an infant, less than 6 months old. And I don't want that to be her growing up. I know she will not be happy or joyful. So I left because of my daughter, just like we did. It's how women can break the cycle of abuse through generations, really. Yeah. Wow, thank you, Lucy. Any last words you would like to add?
I am very, very excited, given the opportunity to have been part of this. I am blessed that SAVE has been such a huge part of my life and continues to be this many years later. I am very grateful to SAVE. I am grateful to you. I am honored to be, partnered with Ali. After listening to her story, I was inspired myself. So many types of different abuse situations. My dream is to one day eradicate this, very much like we were able to eradicate polio and hopefully one day COVID. Wouldn't it be wonderful to live in a world where violence between people would not exist, especially between people who are supposed to be in love, right? What a violation of that love and of that respect to have violence. My hope is that everybody in that situation can step outside of that situation and see it for what it is, and get the help that they need so that they can step away.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for sharing your heart and your story with us today, and so much wisdom as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we invite you to read her book. It's available on Amazon. I will put the link in the description in the post. And we look forward to seeing Lucy again at our virtual gala. She's going to be our guest speaker. And so thank you so much for the conversation. And for the viewers, if you haven't purchased your ticket, you got to get it. It's $25 and you'll get to see our conversation continue.